And we are now live for the 50,000 subscribers special. I actually tried to do this last night, but unfortunately things didn't go very well. The ping was so low that the stream was lagging like crazy, and it was causing a lot of issues. So I'm hoping things go a little bit better this evening. Basically, I've gathered up a whole bunch of really iconic locomotives that have been in various videos on this channel. So the intention is to run every single one of these tonight, and yeah, just have some fun. It's also supposed to be set up as a charity, raising money for the T1 Trust, which is basically this group of railroad enthusiasts who are actually working on rebuilding. Yeah, last night we managed to raise $300. The goal was $500. The channel personally contributed 250 Canadian dollars, so that's a solid start. But hopefully we can get it there this evening, and yeah, I really hope things go a little bit better. Anyway, I can already see we got quite a few people in here. Welcome everyone. Now, yeah, I don't know, run some different trains. We've already got the Hiawatha out, of course, the locomotive which started it all. Doesn't seem to be running too badly. Put a nice streamlined via car on the back too. How's the new yard doing? Not much progress on it so far, but we'll get there. Go via or go home. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for donating to the T1 Trust. I think it's a really cool project, and I gotta say, when I first heard about it, I was a little bit skeptical. And I mean, you know, who knows? It's a very complicated project. But what I will say is that I really like that they're actually building stuff. You know, it's not just a bunch of talk. It's actually, you know, they have the front of the engine completed right now. They're trying to get the boiler built. So, yeah, if funds can be raised, they'll have this engine up and running by 2030, which would just be incredible. So I figured, hey, why not get behind that and support it? How's the switch working out? I put a nail in its place, hopefully, so it doesn't derail any more trains, because that was another thing that was happening last night. I'm really hoping I will try to adjust that. What's your favorite type of rolling stock? Either boxcars or intermodals. They're both great. Anyway, what do you all think we should run next? Other than the big boys, because the big boys are an obvious request. We'll probably run them at some point this stream, but there are many more options. So I'll bring this to a halt. Via. All right. I'm kind of thinking that we take out the Kool-Aid engine, because that's kind of cool. No pun intended. Or maybe intended, I don't know. Of course, we've already got a via car on the track, so it's kind of perfect. Kool-Aid train. The tree got knocked over. Yeah, everything's so darn delicate. I swear, probably about once a month, I'm working under the layout doing some wiring or something, and I bump my head, and it's the worst thing that can happen, because all the trees, the little horses, everything falls right over. How's the progress on the industrial spur layout? There hasn't really been any progress so far. Eventually I want to ballast it all, obviously, and we also have to actually link it up to the layout, but that's going to take some time, because linking that track up to the main line is going to involve actually pulling the curves back, which is going to create all sorts of other problems, but I think it's going to be the right choice, because I don't want to put a switch on a corner, because I already have one switch like that, and this thing causes a lot of problems, so I'm trying to avoid making the same mistakes twice. How's Nerfcat doing? I think he's doing pretty well. I was petting him when I got home from work today. He seemed pretty happy about that. Adjust the camera. Hopefully we can bring this up a bit. You should run the Frankenstein Super Chief. I agree. Nerfcat is messing up the Wi-Fi. It's not the Wi-Fi. Me and my buddy confirmed it last night because I was like, what the heck happened? You know, I tried everything to make sure that that stream would go well. And it turns out that when the servers are really busy, the ping can be really low and it halves the speed. So the live stream was basically running at 50% capacity. So that's not so great, but not really much I can do about it, unfortunately. Can you get the 1985 runaway train model going? I don't see why not. How much are the points usually used or new? Better for the money. I would probably suggest buying them new. I find most of the time when I buy used switches, there ends up being problems with them. You know, switches are very sensitive things. Unfortunately, they're very expensive up here in Canada. I find a regular switch will usually cost you about $25. If you're in a different part of the world like the United States or the UK, they'll probably be cheaper, luckily, but they're unfortunately just a very expensive part of building a layout. So the less switches you can put on a layout, the cheaper it's going to be. Switches are probably the #1 cost when it comes to laying down track. They're $25 in the US as well. It probably depends on what kind you're buying too. I mean, you can buy some switches that are worth like $40. I'm talking about the cheaper ones, but I don't know. The prices have been going up very high on those things. What's your favorite narrow gauge locomotive? Whichever one they're running out in Maine. I forget the name of the railroad though. Anyway, I think we should switch up the locomotive. There were a lot of requests for Union Pacific, but first I think we're going to run the largest Santa Fe Super Chief, to my knowledge, which has ever been built. Bring the Via to a stop over here. Run the Hiawatha. We already ran the Hiawatha, so I think it'd be nice to run something else. But here's something new. This is going to be a very short run because unfortunately this engine can't make the... Oh, I've got the momentum on. That's why it's acting all weird. I was like, the locomotive is working. It's just, uh-oh. It's just getting a bit stuck. You're live again today. Well, trying to keep the live stream going. Unfortunately, it seems like the same problems are occurring, which is sort of frustrating, but as I learned yesterday, there is nothing I can do about that. Breaks the Wi-Fi. Just about. Please run the Acela. Yeah, we can do that. SMT, do you have any of the AWVR locomotives? Please respond. Unfortunately, I do not. They are something I'd love to have in the collection because I am a big fan of the movie Unstoppable, but they are very expensive. Of course, you can always just buy some Santa Fe locomotives and get a decal kit. You can find them on eBay, but I don't know. I already have quite a few projects in the works as it is, so that might be for something for up the road. But in any case, here's the Acela. Try to set this up at an angle we can actually watch go around the majority of the layout. Do you like steam or diesel locomotives? I couldn't decide between them. They're both great in their own right. You know, I understand the practicality of diesels, but you know, steam engines are beautiful, and I find especially a lot of people that are not into trains as much, they tend to like steam engines more. I think they're just more mesmerizing. You know, you actually see the drivers and the valve gear, everything moving. They're kind of more exciting, but again, that is not to say diesels aren't great as well. Big diesel fan. Do you have any old-time steamers like the 440? I've got one, I think, called the General. I don't want to buy points which are expensive, like $25. So if I look to get used, what should I look for in terms of condition? Just see, you know, are the rails even? Do the switches look straight? Like, if things have been bent and misshapen, which often happens with used switches, you know, that's a big red flag. Because what happens is, you know, people nail it down to their layout, or they glue it down, and then when they redo their layout, they rip it all up, and in the process they end up messing up the switches. Or sometimes people replace the switch and they sell it, which is sort of wicked, because, you know, in most cases the switch is bad and they're just trying to get rid of it. So yeah, if you're looking for used, just really examine it as best you can, and try to make sure you're getting something decent. Like I said though, like 90% of the time when I've bought used switches, they haven't worked. So my advice would still be just go buy the new switches. You know, you do pay a pretty big price for them in the beginning, but if they don't work, you know, it's kind of pointless buying used switches anyway. I do have used switches on the layout, but most of the time I put them in areas where the trains aren't going over them that often. That way, if they do have problems, it doesn't really get in the way of anything. Run the cab forward. All right, I think we can do that next, and then at some point I'll dig out the 1985 runaway train. Let's swap this out. So I'm just gonna get the camera pointed at the track and do this with two hands. Stefan Divrick, I really hope I'm pronouncing your name right, donated $5 to the T1 Trust. Thank you very much for your donation. All right, I believe this is all ready to roll. Has the Wakefield train ever been in any movies / videos? Tons of videos on the channel. You know, but if you're talking about the model, you know, I did a video on actually buying the steam locomotive as well as the diesel. That's about it so far. If you're talking about in real life, the Wakefield train, the people took tons of videos. I've made an entire playlist on my channel. And as for movies, the Wakefield train was in a movie in 1999 called Grey Owl, which, funny enough, I think is supposed to take place in the early 1900s and stuff. So it's sort of weird that a Swedish engine is basically playing a role in, you know, what was supposed to be Canada in the 1900s, but it's cool that it got to be in a movie. They actually added a second piece of track to the lineup to Wakefield 2 in the quarry. That's where they set up basically an entire town. I wasn't around when they made that movie, but I've spoken with people who live up around Wakefield, and They told me what it was like basically when they were setting it all up, and it's pretty interesting because, you know, they went and built this entire fake village, and in the movie it looks very full, but it was like just storefronts and things like that. Nothing behind them. How's the Hershey factory going? I think it's going quite well. About 90% complete. It's, you know, still got a fair bit of fine detail that has to go into it, but the majority of it is completed, and I think it will be done later this year. Did you get the boats you were looking for that you mentioned in a stream not too long ago? No, I have not found any boats yet, but I'm on the market. Somebody's got to make a mid-80s Bayliner bow rider. Well, this thing has come to a stop, so I think it's time to change it up. Somebody requested the 1985 runaway train, so I think we'll run just that. Do you know that Bachmann is making a new daylight set? I was not aware of that. Hopefully they improve the drive system so it doesn't derail as much. I just need to find the diesel. Actually, I see it. It's over in the industrial section. Did you ever like Thomas and Friends? Yeah, I watched that show when I was a kid. Always enjoyed it. All right, here it is. The 1985 runaway train. You should glue an HO scale figure on top of the locomotive just like in the movie. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it was a pretty brief moment in the movie. It really depends on what point in the movie you're looking to create the train, because if for most of the movie it also has a piece of damage on the front. I actually created that, but don't usually put it on there. But yeah, the train did change quite a bit throughout the movie. So for whatever reason it just all derailed. I guess we'll take that off and run something else now. Something is causing derailments around here. I need to find the source of the problem at some point. But it wasn't doing that a couple months ago, so I don't really know what to say. This is a really funny part about having a model railroad in the basement, which is that you would think being in, you know, a climate-controlled space, you wouldn't have too many problems with track. But the thing is that during the summer months, it's actually very cold down here because the house is being air-conditioned. So when the winter time comes around and I've done work on the track during the summer, all the rails expand, and it causes all sorts of weird problems to occur. SMT, what should I paint my unpainted Dash 8 into? I'm not doing Atchison, Topeka, Santa Fe, or BNSF. I do not have a clue, to be honest with you. Maybe CN. Oh, we got another $20 donation for the Steam Fund. Unfortunately, the name went away a little too fast for me to read it. Now, yeah, I don't know what we should run next. A C420. Run the trolley. We can do that. Love Mallet. Thank you so much for the donation. Somebody just said apparently that was their name. Wow, another derailment. Let's try that again. What's good bidding for an HO scale train layout? This layout's built on Homosote, but you could just use styrofoam. I think most layouts are built on styrofoam now. In fact, for this new layout, which I'm working on, I'm just going to build it on styrofoam. At its core, it's lumber, but the nice thing about foam is that, if you want to create something like a river, you can actually dig into the foam and it doesn't create too many problems. If you build your layout on foam, though, you probably don't really have a choice on using roadbed because the foam is so soft. I think the rails would just sink in if they weren't on either cork or foam roadbed. I would probably suggest anybody building a layout not to use foam roadbed. I can't say I like it. There's a lot of people in the hobby that really like the foam roadbed. They claim it reduces noise. But I've found that there's a lot more problems with the track not being as even. I found that there's a lot of issues with actually trying to ballast it, because what can happen is that, of course, you put ballast on solid cork, right? And something pushes in against it, it can't move, but on foam it can. So what's happened here is a lot of this is just cracking right off. That's no good. And the noise reduction is canceled out once you ballast your layout, because if you solidify the ballast with the glue, it becomes hardened and the noise problems come right back. So yeah, I don't like foam roadbed. I don't care what anybody says. Good old cork seems to be the way to go. What's the best glue for cork? I don't know, because I've pinned my cork down, but I'm sure there's somebody in here who would have a good suggestion. I went with cork on plywood. That's not a bad option. I think it's probably a little harder to work with, but it will work. The thing that's nice about foam, though, is that it provided you put it on a level surface, it's not really prone to warping like plywood is. Plywood warps a lot if you're not careful, so that's the only thing I've found. It can be a little bit difficult. For my next layout, I'm going to go with Kata Unitrack. Save you a lot of headache. Yeah, that's always an option too. Just go out with conventional snap-together track. I mean, it's not... it's probably a little bit trickier if you want to create a very specific scene, like around a mill, and you need special corners. But if you want track that's really consistent, as in, it's even and not as prone to causing derailments, it's probably a good option. Super expensive, though. I used wood glue to glue down my cork. Well, there you have it from Chris of Go Veer or Go Home. Have you ever seen the movie Unstoppable? Oh yeah, I saw Unstoppable back when it came out in theaters years ago. Great movie. I know if you're a rail fan, you know enough about trains, you'll spot all sorts of things that are quite wrong about it, that in the real world wouldn't happen, but you look through it through just a fun lens. It's a cool movie. It was kind of nice at the time, too, being a train nerd, and then all my friends are talking about a train movie. It's just like, I don't know, Kind of puts it in like the mainstream. All right, well, I think we'll run something else now. Do you have a Shea locomotive? I can't say I do. How much does the layout cost? I bet above $5,000. Yeah, I don't doubt that. I don't know if I ever want to tally up the numbers. Harrison, you missed a donation. I'm really sorry about that. The names, for some reason, for a super chat, the names appear, but for a donation, they appear and then they quickly fade away. I don't know why it's set up like that. Can you run the Spirit of 76? Yeah. Joella Westervelt, welcome to the live stream. Hi, Harrison. Congratulations on 50K. Thank you. Alexander Thomas. All right. Thank you very much, Alexander Thomas. Yeah, oh, there he is. Thanks for the donation. We must be getting pretty close. I can't actually see the number on my screen, but we've got to be getting close to the goal at this point. I imagine we're at about 350 American dollars. $329. Huh, that's funny with the amount of donations that have come in. I actually would have guessed it would have been a little higher. Still very good, though. What company do you suggest for points or track? A lot of people in the hobby really like Pico. This switch right here is a Pico. It's been fine. I don't have too many complaints about it. I wouldn't say it's been perfect. It has caused derailments with certain locomotives, but that might just be problems with the stock. Atlas is probably the most common. Their stuff's okay. It's not bad. I don't know. There's not a company I'm really, I would say, passionate about in terms of track. I kind of want to try out Kato Unitrack because I never have, but I've heard great things about it. Run the TGV. Yeah. I think I was supposed to run that in last night's live stream, and I never got around to it, unfortunately. So we'll run that now. If you have / own any locomotive, what would it be? And if you could pick any HO scale locomotive. I don't know. I can't really think of anything in particular just off the top of my head. I always wanted this engine, but I eventually was able to buy one, so I guess my dream's kind of complete in terms of that. Now, where's that TGV at? Hey SMT, I'm heading out to the Kitchener Model Train Show on March 20th. It's quite a drive, but it would be quite funny to see you there. I think that's probably about 4.5 hours, so yeah, it's not exactly next door. I don't know, I'll have to think about that one. Hey Harrison, imagine if you're running your big boy and then it derails just like the real thing. Yeah, that would not be fantastic. Could you run the Hiawatha if you haven't already? Also, I was wondering where you got it from. We already did run the Hiawatha, so I would kind of prefer to run something else. But the story behind the Hiawatha is kind of unusual. It was actually my grandmother's. She had it as a kid. And then she moved away. She was born in England, which is where she actually had the train set, and she moved away when she was young, and it was in storage. She thought it was gone, and then years later, she went to go clean up her father's estate, basically, in Australia, and she found all of her childhood model trains, and this was one of them. So when I was a kid and I got into model trains, there was one day she showed it to me, and she handed it to my parents so we could actually try to get it fixed and get it running again, because zinc pest had destroyed the entire chassis. And no train store would ever work on it, so it was kind of a lost cause. But eventually, as I got more experienced working on model trains, I was able to join a forum and get it running once again. So it was really special for her. There's a video somewhere on the channel of her running it for herself for the first time in about, I think it was 60 years. If you run your oldest locomotive next, I believe that would be the Chessy and on Fire, which we do have around here somewhere. Chessy and on Fire. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, basically I got that engine off of eBay and the seller said it's in great working order, you know, which to me would imply it doesn't need any maintenance or has any problems. And on its test run, it ran for about 30 seconds and then yeah, it started burning up. It was not good. So I was able to kind of get it into working condition, but it's still not great. But after that, everybody affectionately named it the Chessy and on Fire. I've had a problem with a Bachmann DCC controller. The DCC and sound locomotives won't work. I don't know what it is. The DCC sound trains I have are barely new. I don't know. Some more advanced decoders don't work great with the easy command system. I don't know if you've got the new easy command system, in which case I wouldn't have a clue, but the older easy command system is not a very advanced system, so when you have a very complex decoder, it might not work right out of the box. Try programming it to 3. Yeah, exactly. Try doing a factory reset. That might fix it. Or if you have a local hobby shop in your area, in all likelihood they have some sort of test track and maybe can reset it for you. That's what I did before I got my current controller. If I had a problem, I would bring it to my local hobby shop, and they were all kitted out with some pretty advanced stuff for programming. Also a lot more knowledgeable on it too, because to tell you all the truth, I'm definitely no expert when it comes to DCC. The default address is set to 3. Yeah, resetting it though might reboot it. Like even if it's already addressed to 3 and you just reset it, it might fix a problem. It's really the turning the computer off and on kind of solution. Anyway, we'll let this go around for a couple more laps and then I think we'll run something else. We already ran the Hiawatha. I don't know. For anybody who wasn't here in the beginning, all of these engines right here are on the table. I like DC, less complicated. Yeah, I mean, DCC definitely has its advantages, but personally, I prefer DC more too. It's just, the engines are easier to work on. You don't have to worry about programming. I mean, hey, you're trying to run locomotives together is kind of complicated, but Yeah, if you just want to run some trains around a loop of track, DC is the way to go. Can you run the Super Duper Chief? We actually already ran that one as well. Can you run the Australian engine? Yes, we can definitely do that. DC is cheaper than DCC as well. Yeah, absolutely. Old DC engines. There are some people that are so committed to DCC, you know, they won't even buy an engine that's DC, even though you can convert them. So, yeah, there's a ton of cheap engines on the market as a result. It's like, too, you know, again, you can always convert a DC engine to DCC. With older locomotives, that's a little more difficult just because the motors are not very efficient and can burn up the decoder. But in most cases, you can get around that by replacing the motor or putting new magnets in it. Can you run the Centennial next? We can definitely run that one. The Australian engine was requested first, though, so I'll run that beforehand. Speaking of the complications of DCC, this engine actually has two decoders, one for the sound and one for just regular functions. And so far I have not been able to figure it out. It works, the sound will work on DC, but I have not been successful in getting it to work on DCC. Nice Australian locomotive. Yeah, I really like this scheme. Australia's trains are definitely something I'd like to collect more of because, I don't know, I find a lot of Australian locomotives are really unique. You know, they look kind of similar to North American locomotives, like this one. You know, it's a GE product, but you look at the back, it's got the larger radiator for dealing with the Australian heat, and it's got a paint scheme you just don't see around here, you know? So it'd be nice to have more of that kind of stuff. Can you run the Erie Lackawanna locomotive? Yeah, that's no problem. What places online do you recommend for people who can't get their trains from a local hobby store? eBay can be okay. It's, again, if you don't have a hobby store with nearby or with really bad prices, it's always an option. Amazon, I haven't had a bad experience buying model trains off of Amazon, but their selection, in my experience, is kind of trash. I have bought stuff from trains with a Z.com through their eBay store. I haven't directly ever bought from them, so I don't know what they're like, but I haven't had a problem with them. A lot of people really like Train World. I personally haven't bought anything from them, so I can't say for myself, but maybe if you're in the States, they're a good deal. Flea markets, yeah, that's always an option. A lot of people are talking about Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, or if you're in Canada, Kijiji. Sometimes you have somebody local selling stuff. That's always an option. Train shows are numero uno. You're always going to get like the best deals, I find, at train shows, but they only come around a few times a year, and maybe you don't have them in your area. Who knows? Can you run the Gandhi Dancer? Oh, sure. Yeah, every once in a while, too, you know, you'll have an antique store which sells model trains, but my experience with those is that they're usually not in great working order. So if you're looking for a cheap project, sometimes they can be good, but generally I don't find that they're the best. Craigslist is not worth it with the pain it causes. I don't know. I mean, I don't really see how it's any different from Facebook Marketplace or any of those other sites. I mean, yeah, there's a chance the seller might not know what they're dealing with, or they could be just trying to offload something bad, but there's an opportunity there for a good deal. Hey SMT, I recently bought some old pre-war Lionel locomotives from my grandparents' house over in Maine, and I'm working on restoring them. One of the locomotives is 96 years old and the other is 87. That is awesome. Here's the, has to go through its startup procedure. You can get model trains at yard/garage sales. Lord knows I have. Yeah, it's probably a good opportunity to get something at a really good price too, because again, just like Facebook Marketplace, sometimes people are just trying to get rid of something and they'll part ways with it for a very low price. Do you recommend ballasting Bachmann Easy Track? I guess if it's a permanent layout, yeah, it's always a good option to make things look a little more realistic, but it's going to make it a lot harder to take apart. And Bachmann Easy Track, in my opinion, is also just not the greatest track system out there, especially the kind with the blackened roadbed, because it's steel track, which is really bad. This thing is not very fast. Ontario Rail, I personally really like getting stuff off Facebook Marketplace as the deals are usually pretty good. I asked the seller for a real quick video of the engine running. That's a great tip. If somebody can test run the engine, it will reveal a lot about it. Etsy has cool train gear. Yeah, I mean, I did a video of buying stuff off of Etsy. You can find some okay deals on there, but their selection is not the greatest. Slow and steady wins the rail race. Yeah, it depends on what you're trying to achieve. I suspect the designers at TGV would probably disagree with you on that. Or Alstom, I should say. Watching from work. Congrats again. Thank you so much. What do you use to clean your track? Rubbing alcohol and track brights. Not the best track cleaning system, but I've been doing that for 15 years and things seem to work okay, so. Watch Silver Streak. That's a good train movie. It's also got Gene Wilder in it, so you know it's going to be entertaining. Flying Scotsman ain't got nothing on the TGV. I mean, for its time, it was very impressive, but you know, a train which is able to go, I think the TGV broke the record at going like 690 kilometers an hour. That's pretty impressive. How's it hanging? Oh, not bad. Welcome to the live stream, Chessy's channel. Mark's Trains, I know you ran their HO. I know their O-scale / metal tin plate. Did you know they made an HO scale set crossed with a slot car set? I wasn't aware about the slot car set, but I own one of their tin plated locomotives. Some sort of F unit. And yeah, I've got a few of their HO stuff. Not the most realistic brand out there, but they're not bad. Certainly well built considering they've lasted this long. Did you run the runaway train contest? We already ran that, so I think we should run something else. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got an entire table of stuff ready to go here. Centennial. Ah, well, why not? Maybe we'll actually bring out some freight cars too, just to make things a little more interesting. I've got quite a bit of stuff used from Marketplace and online auctions. Most of the times I usually walk away with good deals, but I have been scammed before. Just be careful what you're buying. That is terrific advice. Please run the Royal Hudson. Yeah, sure. We'll run the Centennial first, though. I'll try to remember to put that one on. You have a Royal Hudson. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, so we'll just bring those down and get the old Centennials rolling. I think we'll start with this one. Do you ever see a piece of HO track with a 60-degree N gauge track intersecting? I think it's supposed to be narrow gauge for HO. I remember encountering that once at a train show. Yeah, where it had 3 different rails and one was N scale. The seller wanted a lot of money for it, probably because it's rare, but in retrospect, I kind of wish I had bought some because it'd be sort of cool to build a small layout which you could run both HO and N scale locomotives on, because of course they run on the same power supply, so yeah, you could technically do that. Now it'd be terribly unrealistic, but if you just want something to run trains on, it's nothing more practical. Please run the Hudson, I'm begging. Well, you don't have to beg. I want to run that. I just have very bad short-term memory. So it's not that I'm trying to ignore anybody's requests or anything like that. But that will happen once in a while. Oh, that's nice. I guess that'll be it for the Centennial. Let's get that Royal Hudson on. Will you get any more Bachmann branch line sets like the class 205, 416, 438, 411, electrical multiple units if they don't fit, even though they don't fit your layout? I don't really plan to buy any of those, but it's not because they don't fit on the layout, just not something I'm personally interested in. But yeah, I don't keep something off the layout just because it doesn't fit. I mean, I was running a TGV on a layout which is supposed to be somewhere in either Canada or the United States. That'll also be my advice to most people too. Just don't restrict yourself. If you want to run something foreign on your layout, there's nothing wrong with that. The truth is, too, it doesn't really matter. You take the train off, boom, still your layout. It's not like you're changing anything, but you get, yeah, you know, it's more fun. You're too young to have short-term memory problems. Well, I've had it my whole life, so it's nothing new. It's probably not a great sign, but not much I can do about that. It's another one of the slower engines. Hoping it doesn't derail. It kind of looks like it's going to. Run the Hiawatha on the table. We already ran the Hiawatha. I just don't want to be running the same, you know, set of a few locomotives over and over again when there's all these other ones that could be run. I think we'd probably even run this thing full speed. Did you say that your layout is built on plywood with a base layer of Homosote over plywood? Yes, that is correct. Homosote was suggested by my local hobby shop because my parents weren't sure. You know, they never. When my dad had his train set as a kid, it was just built on plywood, but they weren't sure if things had changed. So they went to my local hobby shop and asked for advice. And yeah, the guy there has been running that shop for, I don't know, 50 years. He was like, yeah, put it on Homosote, you won't regret it. And I gotta say, it's a pretty good material because, I mean, you can hammer nails and stuff into it really easily. It is good for adding detail. I think foam is currently the most popular option for building layouts, but yeah, I'd do it again. Why not? Do you know anything about 3-rail HO scale trains? Because I have a Varney steam locomotive and it has a center power pickup. I didn't know Varney made 3-rail equipment. Yeah, it's more common in Europe. For some reason, they went with AC over DC. I don't know why that is more of a European thing, but yeah, I have a little bit of Trix twin railway equipment, which would have run on 3-rail track. From my, there's also a couple of my grandmother's trains are actually 3-rail, which is sort of funny because she had 2 Riverossies which ran on obviously just common HO track like this, but also some AC ones. So I would have been curious to see what the layout, how it was all set up at the time. Yeah, SMT, I'm heading out to the train show. As I already mentioned, what would be a good price for a DC/DCC sound locomotive? I would probably say anything under 150 Canadian dollars for DCC sound is not a bad deal, because a sound decoder itself is worth about 80 Canadian dollars. So yeah, a good quality engine with sound, yeah, it's probably worth about 150. But again, anything lower than that, you're in a pretty good state. Do you ever plan on setting up something like a Discord server for your community? I think it would be a great way for your fans to interact with each other and share tips and advice on model trains. I don't run the server, but my buddy Liam does. He was in the chat earlier. You might post a link to it. But yes, there is a Discord server. The T1 Fund is a good charity. Any plans to get one for yourself? It might be nice to put a T1 on the layout, but I don't know. I more just want to support the cause of actually trying to build a steam locomotive in the modern age. I think it's just really cool. Do you know why steam engines can't sit down? Because they have a tender behind them. Ha ha ha. A sound decoder worth $80. Where ESU lock sound V5 is $150. Yeah, I think that's a pretty high-end decoder. You can find them cheaper than that. Like a Bachmann sound value decoder is worth $80. I know you can't buy them because they're made specifically for Bachmann, but you can find similar quality decoders for about that price. They're not the, you know, obviously more expensive decoder. It's going to be better quality, but yeah, not every sound decoder is worth $150. The Bachmann ones are so hard to find. Yeah, well, it's too bad they didn't sell them, but I don't think Bachmann actually manufactures them. I forget which company it is, but they're one of the sound decoder manufactures the sound value decoders specifically. So they're a Bachmann brand, but they're not manufactured by Bachmann or designed for that matter. Soundtronics or something like that. I always wanted to know if the crossing lights work. I always see it in your videos, and you know that standing next to the O-scale track. Yes, those lights right there, they do light up. They don't blink, though. Can you run the Rio Grande Cross Mafia? Yeah, I don't see why not. Hey, SMT Mainline, can you please tell me how much it is to send stuff for you to work on? I'm not currently doing repairs for anybody at the moment that involves shipping. I've done some repairs for people in the Ottawa area before because I can just drive and go pick up the stuff locally. Yeah, the shipping was really giving me a lot of challenges because the thing is people were sending stuff and there was this one that actually got stuck and yeah, trying to pay it off was really, really tricky. So it's not a great situation. Plus the liability of somebody's thing getting lost in the mail. Looks like we're gonna need the conversion car for this. Fitted with a brand new Katie. Come on, Harrison, run the big boy, please. Yeah, I don't know. At some point soon I'll give in and I'll run that thing, but it's just requested so often, you know. It's just nice to give some of the other locomotives a chance to be run. The coupling height on this engine is not great. Yeah, this is probably going to become disconnected from the rest of the train, but we're still going to try to run some cars with it anyway. Come on, Cross Mafia. It's out. Why did it lose power? The joys of old River Rossi locomotives. I'm hoping those cars can stay on long enough to come back around, though. I really don't want to have to move them manually. All right. What's your most expensive locomotive? This little number right here, that cost me $600. I don't usually buy engines in that price range, but it was kind of a sentimental one because it used to be, it's a model of the train which used to be run from Gatineau to Wakefield, the whole Chessy steam train. My grandfather actually had a home right beside the tracks, so when I was a kid, me and my dad would go out to the country over to his house and watch it go by every weekend, so that was always nice. Whatever happened to the 3 GG1s that got broken in shipping? Well, nothing yet. They're still in a box waiting to get repaired. I just haven't gotten around to them. I mean, there's a lot of other projects on the go, but the project hasn't been abandoned, and I still intend to fix those. DB Tech, welcome to the live stream. All right, let's run the big boy. the BL2. I don't know about the BL2. I just want to run the BLT. Whatever that is. Hey SMT, can you run a Chessy System Alco C630 for my friend? It was one of his favorite engines before his collection was destroyed by his ex-wife. I'm trying to find a new one for him. Yeah, I think we could make that happen. Yeah, it's just one of those stories where it's kind of like, oh, wow. Trying to get these things to couple seems to be easier said than done. I wonder if the drawbar has become bent or something like that. This is just kind of ridiculous. Darn it. Okay, this thing is starting to grind my gears, so I'm going to grab the other tender. I can't use that because I don't even know what kind of coupling system uses that. Oh wait, no, that's for that's the wrong engine. I don't remember having this problem in the past. Let's try the other engine. SMT, I have a request. Can you run a Santa Fe? Any paint scheme would make my day. Sure. All right, so here's the big boy for everyone who wanted it. I'm going to set this up and go find that Chessy System locomotive. I'm going to go get that Chessy System locomotive and then... As I was saying, I'm going to go get the Chessy System locomotive and the one that way I don't forget. And that should be all right. Looking for that one I fixed a few days ago. Gotta love the Rivarossi big boy just leaving its cars behind. Sure you're gonna get the Chessy. What do you mean? It's right here. Yeah, we're gonna let this thing push its cars back around because I'm too lazy to go fetch them. Do you have any old Varneys you like to run? Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was supposed to run one of those earlier and I've totally forgot. Darn it. Oh well, we'll put that in the queue as well. So we've got 3 different locomotives we're gonna run. The first one being a Tyco Chessy System. The second one being a Rivarossi Century 430, I believe it is, and then the last one is the good old Chesapeake and on Fire locomotive. Alrighty. The BL2. Varneys are my favorite locomotives. Yeah, Varneys are pretty nice. They did some innovative stuff for the time too. I don't think any manufacturer has ever made a 7-pole motor for their locomotives. I mean, All I gotta say is wow. Whatever happened to the Davy Crockett? Nothing so far. That engine has been in the works for such a long time. Trying to find parts has been a real challenge, which is mainly why nothing's really happened with it. I don't know. I might end up just getting rid of it, honestly, if I can't make it work. SMT, do you think you'll be going to the Kingston train show in October? I will definitely think about that. I didn't even know there was a train show happening in Kingston, so... yeah, I don't know. It kind of sounds like fun. I've never been to Kingston before. Well, there's the first of the trains. And time for the next one. It sounds like there are like rocks rolling around in this thing. Apparently the Kingston train show is October 22nd at the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 560 Kingston, Ontario. Well, there you have it, folks. Zachary Wales, if you can't make it, it would work to send the Davy to me. I'm a starter, not to be rude though, just tell me probably through P.O. Box if that's okay. I don't know, I don't really want to give away anything that involves shipping. Maybe I might give it away to somebody local or something. I'm not going to sell it because it was given to me, so I just don't think it'd be really the right thing to do, but yeah, I'll think about it a little more. If I can find parts, I'll get that engine going again. It is something I want to do, but it's like I just don't want to be sitting on a bunch of dead-end projects that aren't going anywhere, because that's no good, especially if somebody else would take them over and work their magic on them. I mean, there are plenty of projects I'm mighty committed to, like rebuilding that Varney steam locomotive, but I don't know, the Davy Crockett, it's just like, it's not the fanciest locomotive, and I might be able to get it going again, but it's like, is it worth, you know, spending $50 to $70 ordering up parts? It sounds like an awful lot for a low-budget engine, but when you have to look for parts, that's like one of the worst things for any person trying to restore something. Like, if you buy a broken engine and it's intact, in all likelihood, you can just use all the original parts to get it going again. Maybe you have to glue stuff or replace a few small things, but when you buy something that's missing a lot of parts, it's a nightmare to get going again. Anyway, we're now going to run the Chesapeake and on fire locomotive. Hopefully it will not burn up. I have a feeling I'm going to end up needing to replace the motor on this engine though, which shouldn't be impossible. But as I mentioned, it might be expensive. It's like probably one of my pieces of advice for any project, even beyond model trains though, try to avoid hunting for parts. Because you have to find the right part, and maybe they don't make the part anymore, or if the part is available somewhere, it's gonna be expensive because you have to pay for shipping and stuff. I don't know. It doesn't matter what you're doing, I find hunting for parts is a nightmare. So the Chess Beacon on fire is not running very well. We'll let it do one lap, but it's drawing an entire amp of power, which is quite a bit of energy, probably enough to burn up the motor, so I don't want anything to go wrong here. Hey, so take the rail train from Ottawa to Toronto and transferred to a GO train to get to Kitchener Model Train Show. You can vlog the whole trip and do a train show tour. That is quite a creative idea. I don't know. I am actually going to think about that quite a bit because, I don't know, with today's fuel prices, taking the train is probably cheaper anyway. Plus, I mean, going to a train show on a train, you got to, like, I don't know. That's pretty interesting. I was really considering last summer because I was supposed to take a trip across Canada, which I did end up doing. But I had the choice to either take the train or fly. And unfortunately, taking the train just proved to be a very expensive and time-consuming endeavor. But I was very tempted. I just thought it'd be a really cool way to travel across the country. So the truth is, I've not been on a big train trip in a very long time. I don't know. Please run the Hudson. Best regards. We already ran the Hudson, so it'd be better to run something else. I don't know. What out of these engines which haven't been run would anyone like to see? Could you run the Union Pacific Revell switcher or the BN Sharknose? I think we can run the Burlington Northern Sharknose. Let me just go fetch it. Now, I'd like for everybody to keep in mind that this is a power torque, so I'm not gonna be surprised if it doesn't start or something like that. I can't remember when it was I fixed this engine. I don't think it was even that long ago. Oh, yeah, it's not running very well. Come on, little power torque. See, the thing is, these engines have brass wheels, so what can happen is that the wheels can oxidize, cause issues. It was in your most popular, 1.8 million views. Yeah, I guess this engine's kind of famous. Really goes to show you never can tell what will be popular. Because when I made that video, which ended up getting so many views, I really never would have guessed it would have been a hit. I don't know. The really funny thing about uploading videos is that, you know, sometimes, you know, you spend a lot of time and you put together something very, very neat and carefully, and a ton of time and effort goes into it. And then there are other things which were really not that difficult to create. And I can't say that the views always match the amount of effort. Sometimes, you know, there's a video I've put a fair amount of effort into and it ends up becoming popular, but there have been tons of times like that video where it was like, you know, certainly not one of my personal favorites, but for whatever reason, it just had something that, I don't know, people liked or the algorithm absorbed. Who knows? Hey, Harrison, how are you? Amtrak P4 BNSF train. Yeah, we can run a BNSF. SMT has a 1.8 million view video. Yeah. I don't know. It was one of my unboxings from eBay. Would you consider doing more repair streams? Absolutely. The only thing that becomes a little bit of a challenge is that if I run into a problem, like something needs a part and I don't have it on hand, and I have to custom make something, you know, it becomes a very time-consuming endeavor. But yeah, for basic repairs and stuff like that, I would be happy to do more repair live streams, especially since too, it's unedited, it's not sped up or anything, so it's a very kind of raw way to see how, you know, you can work on these types of things. Typical Tyler. Hey, Harrison, how are you? Can you run an Amtrak P42 or a BNSF train? Well, you're just in luck because we just put the BNSF locomotive on. Amtrak, yeah. Well, actually, I just remembered too, we got this Amtrak E8. We'll put that on. Just want to try to run as many things out of this table as possible. Harrison, would you come to see a Class A Hiawatha if one was built from scratch like the Pennsylvania T1? 100%. I don't care if it was halfway around the world, I would go to see it. The Hiawatha is one of my favorite steam locomotives, and for actually exist again would, I don't know. That would be, because it really is a shame that, you know, the Hiawatha doesn't exist anymore. Like, the crazy thing is that the Milwaukee Road actually did offer the Hiawatha up to a museum, the last one they had, and no museum wanted it because at the time it was too modern a locomotive, and it's just such a shame having such a, you know, beautiful engine go to scrap like that. So yeah, if they ever manage to bring one back, that would be quite the day. You keep cutting out. Yeah, I know. There's some server problems going on, unfortunately. Can you tell us more about the locomotives as they're running? I don't know much about them, unfortunately. If you're just talking about the models themselves, yeah, maybe I can tell you how I got them, but that's about it. How many engines do you have? About... More likely the weather. No, it's not the weather. It's the servers. The ping is really low. There's just a lot of activity on them right now with events around the world. So, yeah, they're just not running at full capacity. But my internet is fine. I did a test. I'm running this live also off my The Simpsons. Who hasn't seen The Simpsons? That's a great show. Run an incredibly weird consist. Well, we're about to run an Amtrak engine, so I think that should be good. Got a, whatchamacallit, passenger engine pulling a freight train. I'll bring this back around and then we'll see if this thing will work. What are your thoughts about the new R2-111 train models coming to the MTA in New York? I don't have an opinion. I didn't know about that, actually. Anyway, here's I think it's an E8 case. This was an engine that someone sent in, and the problem actually turned out to be a spider egg, which had been laid on the commutator, and it was preventing power from flowing through the motor. Very weird problem. Never seen that before. Seems like the stream is really lagging right now. Also, this just left its cars behind. Spider egg video is crazy. Yeah. I'm really glad that there was no living spider inside this thing. That would have been weird. Please run the Tyco Canadiana. Yeah, sure. The stream was going downhill in every way possible just a moment ago. Yeah, I don't know why there are these random lag spikes. It's funny. Things seem to be... I mean, I'm not obviously watching the live stream, so I can't really say, but I haven't been getting as many connection errors as I was last night, so... I'm hoping that things are working a little bit better than they were the other day. Broken gears, the only choice is to replace them. Pretty much. All right. Hey, SMT, can you please run a Union Pacific locomotive? It would make my day. Yeah. And the Canadiana Shark Nose is worth $250 on eBay. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody's trying to sell one on eBay for that, but that's just eBay. People will list anything at ridiculous prices. I've seen very common lifelike locomotives going for like $200. It's ridiculous. This is not worth $250. It's worth $50 at most, and you can find them for that price, I'm sure even. In fact, I bought this one on eBay in a lot, and I think the entire lot was less than $50. I sold mine for $250. That is crazy. I am amazed somebody would pay that much for one. I mean, like, I agree, this is a very cool little engine, and they are somewhat rare, but $250 for a power torque? Oh my goodness. Well, all I gotta say is, to the person who sold that, congratulations. Wow. Now, I was supposed to run some sort of a Union Pacific engine. We already ran one of the Centennials. However, there were two of them, so we'll run this one. Oh, looks like the tripod has decided to start filming the ground. Do the brass engines work on the problem with it? I'm sort of wondering if all the wheels on this thing are actually engaged. Well, there's the Union Pacific. Something's not right about this engine. I'm gonna need to do some work on it, I'm thinking. Yeah, look at the wheels. The top ones are so much wider than the others. That's ridiculous. I don't know. That's kind of funny. The problem is these old Bachmann engines have, the wheels are held in by these nylon sleeves, and over time they crack, so the wheels kind of separate. So I'm sure that can be fixed. I bet if I just put some CA in there, that won't be a problem. But yeah, for the time being, I don't think that engine's going to be running anywhere successfully. I mean, see all these ones? Yeah, they look pretty normal. And then, bloop. Oh, man. Run the Rock Island. I'm gonna have to go dig up that Rock Island engine. I don't even know where it is right now. I'll just take a little trip on over to the storage area. Yeah, I don't know where the Rock Island F3 is. Please do a double header. Same problems as last time. I think things were going okay for a while, and then it changed back. I don't know what happened. Yo, SMT, can you please run any type of U36B? Mine has been able to run for me. It would be POD. I don't know what that stands for. I'm not sure. I don't know if I don't know if I can find any Rock Island engines. Can you please show the Hershey factory? Sure. Yeah, slowly parking lot, various vehicles. POG, player of the game. Oh, that's a cool expression. Someday soon. Well, run the GO train. All right. Why did you ruin my day? How did I ruin your day? Congratulations on 50,000 subscribers. Thank you. Bruh, someone mad. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm not here about that. I really don't know what I did. Yo, SMG, you should take out some old locomotives and make them as cursed as possible. I've got one engine, which is from the 50s, and it's certainly seen better days, but it does run. Maybe I should bring it out later. He didn't ruin your day. You ruined since 2016. Run the engine from the 50s. All right, I'll go dig it up. Hopefully I can make some people's days with that. Do you like the Coca-Cola train from the Bradford Exchange? I haven't really. I don't know. I haven't really seen one. Alyssa Joseph, he can barely ruin my day. All right, well, I'm that. Has the Wakefield train been run? If not, could you run it? Yes, absolutely. We're going to run the very archaic steam engine from the 50s, though. I think that's going to be a highlight of the stream. And it's going to pull the GO train, which I think should be quite a contrast, because we'll have this engine from the past, which has seen better days, pulling a train of the not-so-distant future. Late 90s, I believe. I don't know. Does anybody know when Bombardier started releasing these bi-level cars? So, this is my 1950s Varney. Don't know the kind. Wheel configuration is a 280. And yeah, it's looking a little worse for wear. It's got a great secret, though, which is a 7-pole motor. Doesn't have a coupler, so it's not going to be pulling these cars. But we're going to run it anyway. In the 80s, I believe. Okay, a little bit older than I would have thought. Come on, Varney. I should probably service this engine sometime soon. It's certainly not sounding as great as it once did. They leased them to Boston in the late 70s. Okay, late 90s was not a very good guess. Wow. It's the case with most pieces of rail equipment, though. I mean, I guess it really is that if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. I mean, there's all sorts of pieces of equipment which are 50 years old still out on the rails. Unfortunately, when any piece of mainstream equipment reaches 50 in North America, they have to scrap it by law, which is something I really have a hard time understanding because age is... I was talking to somebody about that, though, and they work in aerospace, and they say that even in aerospace, they don't have those same regulations. So, yeah, I don't know who came up with that law, but whatever. Can you talk about this fundraiser? Yes. The T1 Trust is a fundraiser to build a T1 steam locomotive. They're currently trying to build the boiler, I believe. Okay. Now we're going to run the Wakefield train. David Z to G scale, did you run the Delaware Lackawanna locomotive yet? Yes, yeah, we did run that earlier. Fantastic engine. For anybody who doesn't know, David Z to G scale was actually the one who very generously sent that locomotive in. Oh, that's no good. Okay. At some point after this, probably after we run the Wakefield train, I might have to finish off the live stream because I have some other obligations, but we will run this. Taco Tacoma 96 donated 66 Canadian dollars, or American dollars. All right, well, that would have given the fundraiser a good boost. Must be getting close to like 400 bucks at this point. I don't know. I can't see the number here on my screen, but if anybody knows where the fundraiser is at, please put it in the chat. Bummer I was working too late. Well, David Z to G scale, since this is the 50,000 subscriber, and you've been such a great supporter of this channel, we'll run it again. This Sunday, my train club and I are going to tour the Reading and Northern headquarters and shops. I may have the chance to see the T2102. Pray that I actually get the chance to. Yeah, best of luck with that. So I guess we'll try to run all three of these together. I don't know if this is actually going to work or not. This one has to go through a startup sequence before it can start moving. Okay, then. Yeah, I've got a bit of a better idea, actually, which is just to use what all these engines are meant to run on. This is probably set to 3. Yes, there we go. $400, right on the money, literally. Alyssa, it's a triple header. Your day is saved. Yes, that's true. This is a double header. Make it pull 60 cars. I don't know. Everybody's congratulating Alyssa on her day being saved with the triple header. So I guess my my cruel schemes of ruining people's days are over. Because now, not only are we double-heading locomotives, we're triple-heading them. Now, in any case, let's get those cars on. So we're going to try to get in contact with these two engines on the track. I think it's going to be kind of like a 9. I don't even know what we're going to type here. I've done it. I've got them running. Serenity. Now I just need to go collect those cars. And the Petit Train de Wakefield is ready to go. Alyssa's filming. I'm not seeing any comments from Alyssa anymore. I mean, I would hope that the day ruining stage is done now. Wow, still going. Yeah. All right, it's all hooked up. Well, there we have it, folks. Alyssa says the day is saved. Serenity. Anyway, let's get this train rolling. I'll definitely have to do some rail fanning shots of this thing rolling around. I need to get a sound decoder in this thing. Ooh, that's all that matters. Is that 60? 60 what? I'm gonna try to click some buttons here to get the headlights on the engine going there. I'm gonna do that, and I forget if it's like a 9 or a... Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Ho, ho, ho. 60 cars. Oh, it's not quite 60. It's a pretty long train, though. What's the best way to find obscure HO locomotives? Scroll through the depths of eBay or go to train shows. You'll find something unusual. Anonymous donated $10 to the Pennsylvania Railroad. So we're up to $410, 90 more dollars, and we will reach our goal of $500 for the T1 Trust. Fantastic. Or Etsy. It's probably a little less likely, but I mean, I did it once. Etsy's full of unusual model train deals. operation to save Alyssa's days ago BNSF 1458. How many Santa Fe units do you have? I don't know, like 25? How do you replace dry rotted traction tires? I have a Eurostar that needs one. I've heard some people have been successful with cutting very fine pieces of heat shrink tubing. I've used small O-rings before. That seems to work okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. That's all that comes to mind right now. Sometimes you can find OEM traction tires on eBay, but they're usually very expensive, and it's quite rare. Since a lot of trains that use traction tires, you know, the manufacturers like AHM, for example, are long out of business. I've used dental elastics. I've heard of that too. I don't really know much about dental elastics though, so I don't have a clue how you would accomplish such a thing. They sell bullfrog snot for traction tires. Yeah. Trying to apply that evenly might be a bit challenging though. Okay, I don't know why this shut off, but anyway. What do you use for grass on your layout? Just Woodland Scenics. Let me find, I have a bottle of it. I can show you the exact stuff. Green blend, blended turf from Woodland Scenics. And in the States, it probably won't cost you this much, but I will say a container like this can cover a lot of area, so it's one of those things where you pay a lot of money, and then you usually don't have to worry about it for a while unless you're building a super big layout. I mean, a bottle like that could probably cover this entire layout. I'm old. What is WOT? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what that stands for either. Wide open throttle. Okay, I'm so happy that somebody has finally explained what this is, because I've been trying to figure out what WOT stands for, because it's not just with trains, but with outboard motors. Everybody's like, oh, here I am running my outboard WOT. It's like, what are you talking about? Now I know. It's wide open throttle. Fantastic. But to answer whoever was asking if this thing was at wide open throttle, the answer is no. I think the Wakefield train derailed, but we're gonna run it at wide open throttle. It's not very impressive, I will say. It's no speed machine. Also can't figure out why this thing keeps jumping the track. All right, here we go. Full throttle, everyone. This could be life-changing. The poor diesel is just revving out. The diesel is faster than the steam engine, so when it's at full throttle, it's actually pushing against the steam engine, which I'm okay with because all of the diesel's parts are easily replaceable, but the steam engines are probably not. SMT should make another channel about boats. That's the plan. I actually already have another channel about boats, and probably going to be launching that this summer. That way I can share my experiences, not just with working on model trains, but working on outboard motors. As last summer, I bought a 1963 Evinrude. Got that working. That was a fun project. Other channel name, SMT Branch Line. Both are DC or DCC. They're both DCC. SMT spur line. I don't know, maybe I should call it SMT Marine. What kind of controller do you have? It's a Digitrax DCS51. And for DC, I've got a MRC Tech 3 9500 series. What does SMT stand for? It's for scrumptious model trains. Very bizarre name. I can't remember exactly. Oh, it was because of the Hershey factories. Because if you watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, there's a scene where there's the delicious scrumptious bars. So it's like, I was thinking about the Hershey factories. Like, well, there we go, scrumptious, and then you just add model trains, SMT, and then that was converted to SMT mainline just because I thought it was more of a catchier name. Such a tough time explaining that to people though, because I meet somebody and like I say it's SMT mainline, they're like, why is it called that? And I go through this whole thing. Didn't you say you wanted to fix old snowmobile along with outboards? Yeah, snowmobiles would be pretty cool. It'd be nice to pick up a old Bombardier one of some sort. The only challenge with the snowmobiles is I don't really have anywhere to run them. Because the nice, I could, I guess, buy one and just haul it out somewhere like I do with the boats. But the nice thing about the boats is, you keep them on the trailer most of the time. And then every time I want to take them out, which isn't very often, just haul it out to the river. And it's quite lucky because the Ottawa area has got lots of waterways. So plenty of places to run the boat. I don't know. My friend has a farm. And she's actually good with the snowmobiles. I've talked to her about that before, but I'm not so sure if her parents would be on board with me bombing around in a snowmobile, so that's the only spot where it could be a bit of a challenge. Ancient more than likely he doesn't have a clue what an S4 is. Yeah, that's true. I have no clue what an S4 is. Please don't spam it. Yeah. SMT, how's the merch going? Glad you asked. I still need to make some changes. I was doing some editing on the prices the other day just to balance them out a little bit better, so I've lowered them, which should be good. But I still need to sort some stuff out because I'm quite happy with the mugs, which I actually have right here. So I feel like these all turned out pretty good, but I also designed some water bottles and things like that, and I can't say I'm thrilled with the quality, especially of the SMT mainline logo. So I don't really know if there's anything I can do to fix that. I might just end up deleting it. And I'll just continue selling the mugs and shirts and things like that on there. Is the street track functional? Yeah, there's power in it. I don't know how well this BNSF engine is going to run because the rails are really uneven, but let's give her a go here, folks. Break out the books and try to learn your locomotives. Yeah, that's something I really have got to do at some point. Alright, I think this engine is 4926. Let's see if my memory stands correct. Oh wait, I remembered something. I think the track is on its own set of wires. I don't know. I can't remember how I wired this. Let's see, you got... Now the controller is shorted. Ay. Okay. I guess that fixed it. Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna have a look here. I got some wires. Okay, I figured out what the problem is. And I'm thinking the BNSF is gonna start now. C49, 26. Nothing's happening. The engine is on the track. Try turning the lights on. Not seeing anything. So probably the wires are just not letting the power actually flow through. Oh, it happened again. I think that switch out there is shorting out the Wakefield train, because I just find it weird it keeps happening in the same spot. But yeah, in any case here, I just play around with these wires a little. I don't know, might just be DCC. This was operational at one point though. It wouldn't be hard to get it going again, but I guess right now it's a little bit messed up. What do you think about Easy Track? I might get some, but I want to know what you think. It's not my favorite track bed system. The connections between the plastic can break. They get very brittle over time. Rail joiners wear out if you're connecting them and disconnecting them a lot, so they don't last that long. And don't get the kind with the blackened road bed, because it's steel track and it will rust and oxidize. So that's no good. It's also really expensive, so it's not my favorite brand. It's certainly cheaper than Kato Unitrack, and to be fair, I've never worked with Kato Unitrack, but it might be worth the extra money just based off of what so many other people in the community have told me. So many people I know swear by it, that's what I'll say. But if you're going to go with the Easy Track, go with the kind with the gray road bed, just because you're probably going to have a lot less problems. Excellent review of Easy Track SMT. Too many review channels just say everything is great. Well, I appreciate that. I try to be as honest as I can with what I think about stuff, but I don't know. Everyone has different thoughts. Some people love Easy Track, and there's nothing wrong with that, but just my thoughts on it. The BNSF trolley. Yeah, we were trying to run that earlier. It wasn't going very well. Rookie Railroader. It's good. I haven't watched that channel before. There's one channel, I'm sure some people in the community must have heard of them. I've been watching them a lot, is Save It for Parts. And it's this guy who kind of just collects, like, you know, junk off the side of the road and stuff like that, and does really unique stuff with it. I don't know if you're one of those people who likes kind of like DIY stuff, I'd recommend his channel. But yeah, crazy projects. He actually bought a old monorail from a zoo and turned it into like a cottage at a farm, which is pretty cool. And he also works on old boats, which is something that I'm a fan of. And yeah, he actually has a speeder too. So yeah, pretty cool channel. I've heard of him. Seems we have a short circuit here, folks. Do you have any Alco S4 locomotives? If you don't know what an S4 is, look it up. All right, we'll get the Wakefield train running again first, but yeah, I'll do some research to see if I can find one there. Stuck. What the heck? I don't know one person in the community, in the railroad community, who swears by Easy Track. It's not the best. Yeah, I don't know. There's some people that are pretty big Bachmann fans, and some of them seem to love it. I've worked with Easy Track before, and that's why I have a lot of different thoughts on it. But I need to pick up some Power Lock track and some Cato unit track and stuff, and one of these days do a great big comparison between the three, and we'll, you know, compare the price and everything else and figure out once and for all what's the best brand of road bed. Really, Bachmann fans. There's nothing wrong with liking Bachmann, just as the same as nothing wrong with liking Tyco and Lifelike and stuff. I mean, Lifelike is actually one of my favorite brands. The only problem I have with Bachmann is that, you know, in recent years they've made their prices so high that I can't really justify the corners cut in their quality. That's the only problem I have with Bachmann. It's just about the price to quality. If companies want to make, you know, lower quality stuff, that's fine, but you gotta price it fair. Lifelike for life. Yeah, exactly. Definitely team Lifelike. Agreed, SMT. SMT Mainline, somebody wants to know your email address. You can go to the About section on my channel and click, there's a button that says like view email for business inquiries. You don't have to have a business inquiry to click that button. It's just the way it's set up. Or you can just type in scrumptiousmodeltrains@gmail.com, all lowercase, and send an email that way. Yes, price it fairly. Absolutely. What's your camera setup? It's an iPhone 11 Pro. I got a new Bachmann N&W Alco S4 that does not work. It is brand new and has an electrical problem, and I don't know if I put one of the wheels out of the track, it moves just a little bit and then quits. Weird. Run the big boy. Well, I'll probably be finishing off the live stream fairly soon, so why not? How big is the layout? This is a 4x8. This is a 4x6. I don't know the dimensions of the rest of it, unfortunately. I'll have to get a measuring tape and figure out how many square feet this layout is. Yes, skipping through math class might have been a poor choice for this part. Do you have any decoders in your GG1? I've been having some serious issues getting a decoder to work in mine. No, I don't have any decoders. It depends a lot on the manufacturer, though. I mean, if you're trying to set up a decoder with a Rivarossi motor, that might lead to some problems because they're 3-pole motors and decoders are designed to work with 5 poles. So apparently you need to change the CVs. I don't have a clue how. I've just been told this by people who've wired up 3-pole motors with decoders. I wish somebody would make a deal on it. Could be really to a lot of people. Yeah, what can you do? Oh boy. I don't know what's going on with the coupler here, but oh, there we go. We got it. How's the layout going? Any updates on it? None at the moment. Okay, I'm just gonna get this off the main line and then we'll run the big boy. Possibly the cab forward with it. SMT, have you ever had a locomotive not work at all? After trying to fix it? Many times. SMT, find some bootleg Thomas the Tank Engine music to finish off the stream. I mean, it'd be really funny, but I know good enough not to do something like that. No good will come of it, I'm sure. So then whoever made the bootleg Thomas music is probably going to go after me and be like, SMT is stealing my music. Did you get an HO scale Gene Wilder for the chocolate factory? No, that's a fantastic idea. Is there a locomotive you're most proud of? I mean, I know it's kind of an obvious answer, but it's the Hiawatha, just because, you know, that thing got turned down by so many train stores with skilled repair people. I mean, to be fair, they just didn't have the parts to repair it, but still, you know, I never would have guessed that would have been the engine that, you know, I'd eventually get going one day, so it's pretty special just because of that. It's also probably been the most in-depth repair I've ever done. Because it actually involved hunting down parts, and I don't know, it's not even done yet, but the fact that it's running is something I didn't think I'd ever get to see. I have an HO scale Willy Wonka. HO scale Willy Wonkas. Whoa! Look what finally decided to start. Okay, there's something funky going on with my wiring here. This is bad news. Somebody donated $100. Congratulations, folks. We have reached our goal. I don't know who sent in that name because they did it anonymously, but Yeah, thank you so much. So, back on bad electrical. I don't know what I've done, but look, this is set to DCC, and when I put power in the truck, the BNSF engine starts, but not the big boy. My goodness, I don't know what kind of brouhaha is going on with my layout, but I'm not liking this. That's at first I was kind of like, hey, the BNSF engine's running now, and now I've realized that that probably means there's some big problem going on. Well, I don't know what to say. Although the big boy's not running, so maybe I just hooked up those wires that, because this piece of track is separate from the rest, maybe I just wired it up to the wrong spot, and that's why it's doing that. Yeah, power's not getting to the main line. I don't know. My whole electrical system for this layout is really, really bad because, unfortunately, I did most of the work back when I was like, 10 or 12 and hardly knew what I was doing, and I haven't gone through and updated it. I've just kind of patched it up. So there's a lot of stuff down there which could use some work. One of these days, I think I should just go buy a great big spool of wire and redo the whole thing, and then I don't have to worry about these weird problems occurring where you have engines running on different pieces of track. I don't know. ContainerMan68, welcome to the live stream. How are you? Coal Dust just donated $69. Thank you very much for the donation to the T1 Trust. Everyone's saying hilarious because it was $69. I hope it's anthracite coal dust. Of course it is. What's the most iconic locomotive in your collection? Probably the 4449. Unfortunately, it doesn't run, but, well, I don't know. Maybe that's not true. The big boy is probably more famous than 4449. Who knows? You missed a super chat. We're now at 579. Wow. All the donations for this charity, I've got to say, we've exceeded our goal. Terrific work, everyone. Money in space, no object. I would love to make the Amtrak Northeast Corridor layout. That's a terrific question to all of you in the chat right now. If money in space is no option, you have your own private warehouse and $1 billion, what railroad would you build? I want to see your comments. I mean, you could probably build Mariah's Pass if you want to, just for example. ContainerMan68, congratulations. Thank you so much. Thanks a bunch to, specifically to you, ContainerMan, because I know you were a very early supporter on the channel. I think you were probably one of the first 150 subscribers, if not earlier. So, thanks for sticking around for so long. If anybody likes videos, well, more live streams too, of what it's like to be in a truck, you should go check out ContainerMan's channel, because it does these live streams out on the road, which can be quite entertaining to watch. ContainerMan, what did I donate to? It's a organization called the Trust. It's basically this group of rail enthusiasts who are working on building a steam locomotive in the modern day, specifically a T1, which no longer exists. So it's a pretty interesting project, and they've actually completed parts of the locomotive. Right now they're working on building the boiler, as far as I know. So yeah, hopefully this fundraiser will put $500 more towards that. It's not near to what they need, but hey, you know what? It's $500 in the right direction, so it will do some good. I'm sticking around to see if I can get some of your subs to join my channel. Well, that's nice. Where's Nerf Cat? Nerf Kitty's just probably chilling by the fireplace upstairs. Train BFGR, congratulations on reaching 50,000 subscribers. You did a great job representing your hobby as fun. Your videos, your repair videos are informative. Keep up the good job. Thank you so much. You should get an Athearn Genesis Challenger. I love mine more than my Trick Big Boy even. Wow. Do you have snow up there? There's tons of snow. It keeps showing up too. We get these warm days where it's like 2 degrees outside, and then yeah, the snow just keeps returning. So I don't really know what to say about that, but I really hope spring comes around soon, because I can't wait to get the boat out on the water and maybe the speeder back on the rails and all the wonderful things which come along with summer. So until then, hold on a moment. So, as it would turn out, I guess my dad heard that people mentioning Nerf Cat's name, so here he is, folks. Cat. Oh, there he goes. Well, you had it there, folks. Nerf Cat. Anyway, I think I'm going to end off the live stream. I want to thank you all so much for joining in, and moreover, thank you all so much for supporting the channel. I really do appreciate it. I never would have guessed the channel would have reached the point that it did today, but here it is, thanks to all of you, and I really do appreciate that. So thanks a whole bunch to all of you for supporting the channel. I hope that we can have some more fun videos on the way in the not-so-distant future. But yeah, until then, thank you all so much for tuning in this evening. Have a great night, everyone.